Yummy Mummies, it's Patricia again for your next yoga tip in a common series of yoga poses that are done in a yoga class or to be used as a warm-up. It's called sun salutations. So we're breaking down each pose one by one, learning that alignment so that eventually you can string them all together. So we did our standing forward bend, we've done downward dog, and now I'd like to work with plank pose and moving through halfway through plank to what's called chaturanga, dandasana, and all the way to your belly. There are lots of good videos that Holly has posted about plank pose and being able to sustain it, having good form, keeping the chest open and the shoulders back, keeping the tailbone rooted and the hips low. She even has this great one that I know we've done on the transformational challenges where you can place a broomstick on your back, making sure that the points in the back of the head, the back of the chest, and the back of the hips are all in alignment. So go ahead and go back and look at those for alignment in plank pose. I'm going to focus on just the transition from plank pose all the way down to your belly, because that is a place where people commonly feel shoulder discomfort. So if you're working with plank pose, and if you want to work it, one of the ways you can fluctuate with plank pose, if you're a beginner, is to go from plank pose to down dog to plank pose again. So it looks something like this. We just covered downward dog, so we talked about strengthening through the arms, melting the heart, and then slowly extending the hips up and back. And then you probably need to scoot your stance a little longer so that when you shift forward to plank pose, the wrists are underneath the shoulders. And then you can press back to down dog. Movement is always easier than sustaining. So this is to help build strength. It's still weight bearing. This carries more of the weight in plank pose, more core strength, and then this takes it back a little bit more into a stretch. So that would be a good warm-up, or if you're beginning your yoga practice, that would be a good repetition to do to build strength in these poses. Then if you're ready to take it to the next step, to move towards chaturanga, you can go from downward dog, downward facing dog, to plank pose. And then when you're ready to shift down, you're going to have to shift your weight forward so you kind of come up onto the edges of your toes in order to keep the elbows beside the chest. And then you can hover before you lower down. Usually there's a breaking point for women when they first start their yoga practice where they come to plank pose and then they're doing good, and then the shoulders want to drop and their chest drops and then they just collapse. So really important is to keep those hands and the forearms hugging in so that you can maintain strength in the shoulders, and shifting the weight forward makes it easier to come down. So there is your next tip in the next part of the sequence in sun salutations, going from plank pose to chaturanga to belly on the floor. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.